All right, we're approaching the trade deadline. We asked you to send in some trades for us to go over, some trade hypotheticals, and none of you did it except for Darnell Gillette. Shout out to Darnell, former guest, longtime listener, master of the trade machine. He, I, and our good friend Mark Gonzalez talk basketball every day in our group chat, and he loves hypothetical trades. So I was like, you know what, Darnell, you come up with these trades. I'm naming the segment after you, the Darnell Gillette trade machine. Here we go. Trade number 1. The Chicago Bulls receive Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell, and a 2026 round 1 top 8 protected pick. The Kings receive DeMar DeRozan and Javon Carter. If you're the Sacramento Kings, do you do this?
No.
You don't do this for DeMar DeRozan?
I don't do this trade. I think they were more interested in Zach LaVine. Like most teams until Zach LaVine got injured.
I'm more interested in DeMar, bro, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar's nice. Like, that's not discrediting DeMar. I don't know if he's necessarily like the fit for your style of play, because it's they spread the floor out, shoot a lot of threes, play off Sabonis. So yeah. I don't know if they would want to make that trade, especially if they don't have a guarantee that he would resign with them, because he's coming off the books, and then you're losing Huerter and Harrison Barnes, both players who have been, ever since their name got brought up in trades, they've been playing really well. It's like the whole thing is kind of like D'Lo on the Lakers, when they were like, oh, they might trade you, all of a sudden they start putting up like 40 balls. So I personally don't see this trade happening for Sacramento.
Yeah, I kind of like it for Sacramento. I agree with you in the sense that he doesn't really fit their style of play, but I do think they need something else aside from Sabonis. Hold on. Now that I'm thinking about this, I don't like it. You know why? No, I'll be honest with you. Because their offense is fine. Like they have shot creation. Like, you have De'Aaron Fox, who can get his own bucket, who's been clutch in the fourth quarter. You have Domantas Sabonis, you can run it through. For me, the biggest problem with the Kings, I'm sure you feel this way too, is probably defense.
Yeah.
And maybe a bigger guy. They have JaVale McGee, but maybe somebody else who can protect the rim and grab boards when they're going against a bigger team. They got ousted last year in the playoffs against the Warriors. And to me, if you get DeMar DeRozan, now that I'm actually thinking about it, what does that actually solve? Now you're just trying to outscore teams, and you're kind of retooling your offense for someone else. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh yeah, this gives the Kings another option, right? And maybe makes it a little, they're more diverse on offense. I think that can be an argument where it's like, yeah, well, you could run the offense through Domantas and you can go through De'Aaron, but having another option, having another venue to score the basketball is never a bad thing. But the problem with the Kings is not the offense. It's not the variance in their offense. You know, they have shooters. They have different ways to score the basketball. They have different ways to play and make plays. They need a rim protector. They need a more formidable front line. So now that I'm thinking about it, Kwab, I think you were right hearing you talk about it. I to be honest with you, I haven't really thought these things through, and I'm glad that I stopped myself there, because I think this has been one of the things where I like listen back to it and I'm like, no, Kwab was right on this one. Yes. And if I'm the Bulls, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, I mean, they each have 3 years left on their deal. Davion Mitchell, who at best he's a nice player, but he's someone you bring off the bench, especially when you have Kobe White there now. It's not like he's going to be starting in your rotation. This is assuming Alex Caruso still stays there. He's basically a poor man's Alex Caruso in my mind.
And they still have Ayo Dosunmu. Like, I'll say this: I don't know what the Bulls are doing or what the Bulls are gonna do. So
they have no idea what they're
doing. The Bulls might like. There's a trade the Bulls might like also, but like I don't like this. I don't like this trade for Sacramento. I'll say that.
The Bulls might fuck around and run it back. They might. Bruce mentions like, I like our team, bro.
We like our team. We're just gonna keep the same squad. I've never seen a team that's just like, because of one piece, they just feel like a completely different team. Losing Lonzo has like changed just the outlook of the team completely. Like they're just a completely different team. Like, and I think the nickname people give them now is like they're just team playing. They just want to get a plan. They don't care. They just want to get in a plan. And I guess that's what management wants, or that's what the players want. So,
well, they seem like they found a guy in Kobe White who can kind of run the team. You know, the problem with the Bulls for me was they didn't have a true point guard. I think Lonzo going down was bigger than people expected. You know, he ran that team when he was playing. The Bulls were good. I mean, the first year you put together DeRozan, LaVine, and Lonzo, I wouldn't say they're contender good, but they were good enough where it's like, all right, you make a couple moves, you kind of figure things out, and you kind of end up where like the Knicks are, where it's like, oh, you had an OG and now like you're being taken more seriously. Well, the Bulls could have been that. I think Lonzo going down really hurt them a lot. I think they should have been in the Drew Holiday sweepstakes, and I know Drew Holiday was available. But I think someone like Drew Holiday would have fit them perfectly. And Kobe White, he's been balling. It'd be interesting to see, if they're fully healthy, what they can do, because they have pieces there. I just don't know what the ceiling of those pieces, and it's just a weird group. You're right. I don't know what they're gonna do. I have a feeling they're gonna run it back, bro. I don't think they're gonna trade anybody with LaVine hurt.
Yeah, I mean the Levine getting hurt because it was looking like Levine was definitely gonna get traded, and people were making the joke that he decided to get the surgery because he didn't want to get traded to the Pistons. But
yeah, that was the Pistons were the rumor.
yeah. So like, but yeah, I don't. I think I feel like they probably will try to make some moves in the offseason. I don't know if they make a move before the trade deadline. But again, anything can happen between today and Thursday. So,
yeah, if you're a Kings fan, if you're a Bulls fan, you're listening or watching, comment below. Let us know what you think of that trade proposal, and who would you want? What player are you targeting for Thursday's deadline? All right, let's move on to the second trade. The Trailblazers receive Tim Hardaway Jr., Derek Lively, Seth Curry, and a 2025 round 1 top 8 protected draft pick for Jerami Grant. That is a lot to give up for Jerami Grant, in my opinion. I like Jerami Grant. I think he's very underrated. He's someone who we just mentioned, OG Anunoby. I don't think he's better than OG, but I think he plays kind of the same role where it's like somebody who can guard your best defensive player, your best offensive player. Maybe not as good as defensively, but definitely better offensively, and maybe another option for Luka and Kyrie. But giving up Derek Lively at a first for Jerami Grant, who's on a 5-year deal, that's a lot for me. I think Tim Hardaway, you can do whatever you want with him. I think teams, you love him sometimes, you hate him sometimes. I just think this is a weird deal. I feel like that's a lot to give away for Jerami Grant. I know you have to match the salaries, but he's someone who I don't think he changes the Mavs immediately, like in the way that OG changed the Knicks. What do you think, Kwab?
I don't like that trade just because I feel like Derek Lively is basically essentially like an untouchable for the Mavs just because
they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it. I don't think they'll do it just because how well he has played since he's been drafted. He just fits for what Luka does, and like even Kyrie just rebounds the ball, finishes open dunks. Like it's a perfect pick and roll player for both players. If they were gonna give up somebody, I think they would probably lean towards Grant Williams more than they would like, just because I don't think he's been what they expected.
Poor Grant. Grant's such a hard downfall, bro. Ever since he guaranteed those free throws in Cleveland, it feels like, at least publicly.
Grant's fine. He has Satu Sabli's phone number. He's fine. So he's fine. He's doing fine. Whatever. He's fine.
Okay, he's doing okay.
He's doing okay. He's fine. Yes, I think that's probably if they were gonna give up somebody, because the other rumor trade was probably that I saw was maybe Grant for Bobby Portis, but I think the Bucks shut that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's too.
Do you value anyone on the Mavs outside of Lively? Like, would you want a Tim Hardaway Jr.? Would you want a Grant Williams? I mean, Tim Hardaway has 2 years left on his deal, so he's probably a trade chip you can use next year.
But like,
to
me, it's like, what are you making a trade? Why would you? Is he a piece that you feel like makes a difference in your team?
So for me, I feel like if you're a contender, maybe next year, I think Tim Hardaway's name's going to be around a lot, depending on how the Mavs are doing. Let's just say the Mavs are like in the play-in, struggling.
Yeah.
They're selling for whatever reason. I don't know why you would be selling with Luka, but just say hypothetically, he's somebody where it's like, oh, you get Tim Hardaway on an expiring deal, punch off the bench. I mean, we see it now. Jordan Clarkson's name's in high demand. Malcolm Brogdon's name's in high demand. Like, you have players like that who are in high demand. So I think he could be that. I just don't know if the Mavs will ever be sellers.
I don't.
And from Portland's perspective in this, you get Hardaway. Next year, he's on an expiring deal, which means you can trade him, use him as trade bait for a contender. and you get Derek Lively, you got a young center, which I don't know if they would do that either because you do have Robert Williams there, you have DeAndre Ayton there.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like you're crowding your front court. So it doesn't really make sense. Seth Curry used to be a Blazer. I don't think they have any plans with him in the future. That's probably just a salary filler. I think at the draft pick, I guess, which you would want for the future. I just don't know if I'm giving Tim Hardaway, who's a potential like trade piece for the Mavericks later, / probably your third best option on offense.
Yeah, has been having
right?
like a 6-man of the year
Yeah.
candidate type of run. Like I don't know if you give that up. I don't just
I like
and for,
Jerami Grant too, but
I like Jerami Grant. I don't for what you're, but to me, does that make a difference for you for the Mavs?
It makes a little bit of a difference, I think, because it also tightens you up a little bit defensively, but it's not in the sense where I think it takes them over the top. And I think if it were to make a big difference, Tim Hardaway would have to stay on the roster.
Yeah.
If it makes any sense. You need that depth. But yeah, so I say no to this. I don't think the Blazers or Mavericks would want this. If you're a Blazer fan, if you're a Maverick fan, comment below on trades that you would like to see for your teams. All right, Kwab, we got a trade with the Knicks that I didn't make. Tyus Jones goes to the Knicks for Evan Fournier and 2 first-round draft picks going to the Wizards. Kwab, a lot of talk has been made about the Knicks bench, and maybe they need something else there. Creator Deuce McBride has been playing well. Malcolm Brogdon's name has been linked. Jordan Clarkson's name has been linked. But if you're a Knicks fan, would you take this deal? Tyus Jones, who's been well regarded as like one of the best backup point guards in the league, has a chance with the Wizards this year. Really hasn't affected winning, as you can see. What do you think?
Hasn't affected. Yeah, the Wizards are not about winning. Yeah, I would. I don't like this trade for the Knicks because, first of all, it's the picks that they that were put in were both first round picks. Though what I heard for the rumor for Tyus was like maybe he might go for a couple of seconds. So giving up 2 first, maybe a first and second. Let's just say hypothetically if you're doing that. But I don't know if that's the type of player that helps the Knicks right now.
Yeah.
I think he would help the Knicks, but I think maybe your team needs a little more scoring off the bench also. So, like you mentioned, Malcolm Brogdon or Jordan Clarkson, who's also been rumored would probably be a better fit. Losing Emmanuel quickly was big because he was like the bench, the offense off the bench. So, yeah, I think that more of like a more dynamic playmaker and scorer you'd want compared to like Tyus, who's more of like a doesn't make mistakes type of guard. Like he's very like his like always high on the assist to turnover ratio. Like plays the right way, makes solid shots. But I don't know if he's what the Knicks need right now.
Yeah, I agree. This is too much to get for Tyus Jones, especially if you're a team like the Knicks, who you're accumulating assets probably for a bigger trade.
Yeah.
And you're going to give away 2 picks for Tyus Jones. That seems like a lot. And I do think the Knicks need help off the bench. I don't think Tyus is the guy, though. I personally am a huge Malcolm Brogdon fan. I've been pushing that on my Twitter. That's been the agenda that I've pushed is Malcolm Brogdon. I love Deuce McBride.
Wait, pause for a second. Pause for a second. What how do you pronounce his name?
Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon?
Brogdon. Why?
It's both. I've heard both. Brogdon? I've heard both of them.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon.
He said Brogdon. It's like
I've been pushing the Malcolm Brogdon. It's spelled Don, bro.
That's how.
Give me a break.
It's spelled Don. You said it so much angst. It's spelled Don.
I've been pushing the Malcolm Brogdon, D-I-N. It's bro. I'm gonna ask. We gotta ask him. It's spelled Don. I get it. I know. I know people think it. I know. Malcolm Brogdon.
Let's do my Googles.
No, I know it's Brogdon. I hear Brogdon.
Okay.
But I've also heard Brogdon. All right. I've been pushing the Malcolm Brogdon agenda from a Knicks fan perspective for a couple weeks now. I think he's great off the bench. I think he's exactly what they need. He's someone who can create their own shot. You do have Deuce McBride, who's filled in admirably. I think he's been fantastic since the Philadelphia 76er game.
Yep.
And he's been shooting lights out. But, I think he can play alongside Brogdon. With Quentin Grimes hurt, who knows what happens with that? You can have Grimes or Deuce next to him. Maybe have 3 guards out there. You have different options now with the bench as well. But he's someone who can create their own shot. I think he's someone the Knicks really need. And I wouldn't give up much for Brogdon. I don't think I would give up 2 firsts for Brogdon either. If you replace this trade with Brogdon, I don't know if I'm getting 2 firsts for Brogdon. So I think it's a little much. I like Tyus Jones, just don't like him for the Knicks.
I mean, I think you should be able to do it with like 1 first and a piece. That's why I wanted to ask you: would you give up in some of these scenarios? Would you give up Quentin Grimes to get back?
No. Nope.
Okay, well,
you know how I feel.
But yeah, I know. That's why I asked. Like, if it was like, would you give
what's the proposal?
Like Quentin Grimes for like Jordan Clarkson, for example.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Quentin Grimes, transparency for anybody watching. I mean, I love Quentin Grimes. He's one of my favorite players on the Knicks. I'm not against trading him.
Yep.
But Quentin Grimes has to go in a deal for someone who's like an OG, like a missing piece. Obviously, you're not going to get Quentin Grimes for that piece straight up. Like, there's going to be picks, there's going to be contract, there's going to be other people in that deal.
Yeah.
But I'm not. This man was someone who was deemed untouchable in the Donovan Mitchell deal a half a season ago. And now all of a sudden you're going to give him up for Jordan Clarkson? Are you kidding me? Especially when Grimes, like, I've been saying this on the dime for the past year and a half, Kwab's and laugh, but if you pass him the basketball, he can score. I think he's criminally misused in this offense. I think he's criminally misused by Tibbs and this team. I'm to the point where it's like, all right, he's not going to shine here. He's probably going to have to go somewhere else. But to me, it's like his value is better than just Jordan Clarkson. We can get someone better for Quentin Grimes.
But what if hypothetically Jordan Clarkson is the missing piece?
I don't think Jordan Clarkson is a missing piece. I mean, if he is, then yeah, sign me up. I mean, if there's a way to tell in the future if Jordan Clarkson is a missing piece, then yeah. But I personally don't think.
Did you think OG was the missing piece?
I knew OG would be a good piece. I didn't know how good of a piece he would be.
I see a lot of Knicks fans on the timeline telling a lot of lies. So that's when it comes to OG.
Knicks Twitter lies all the time, bro.
A lot of lies, and
I try to be as honest as possible. You know that.
Yeah,
I've been very consistent with my shit.
Very consistent, always very consistent. I'll say this about OG. A lot of, and this is a lot, if any, all the people that are from Toronto that listen to this podcast have. The way they used to regard OG and even Pascal when it came to trades, and anyone from the outside would be like, yo, why do you like, it felt like they were overvaluing them as players.
Yeah.
OG coming on the Knicks and being in like, just the Knicks market. The first couple of games he played, Knicks fans were talking about him like he's the next Kawhi Leonard. Like,
we wildin', bro. Yeah. We already started defensive player of the year campaign. We got no shame.
Like, yo, he's the greatest defensive player ever. He's the greatest two-way player I've ever seen.
I've never seen anything like this.
It's just amazing. Like, he does everything. So, it was like,
we got no shame, bro.
And all the Raptors fans were like, yeah, we've been telling you he's good. Like, why don't you listen to us? They're like, yeah, sure. But he's on the Knicks now, so like, he's a GOAT.
Nah, so. I knew it. I liked him. I didn't think it'd be to this extent, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. All right, Kwab. Thanks for going through that. Darnell, shout out to you, man, for making these trades that we liked.
Yeah, thank you.
We hated every single one of them.
Appreciate you, bro.
We hated all of them.